G'day guys, welcome back. Welcome to Pouring Your Heart Out. I am in Theo's nursery, my grandson Theodore, and I'm just showing you my previous chunky finger knit chenille gorgeous blanket that I've made, and I've laid it out here on the chair just so that you can see what it looks like, the size of it. And I am going to go again with another one today. So this one, it was cream, pink and grey. I actually made that one for my mother. I'm going to give it to her as a Christmas gift. But yeah, I just wanted to show you the finished product there. And I will link this video if you want to see this one. So let's jump straight into it and we'll do another one because they are so addictive. Right, so here we are in the studio. Now this is where I would normally do my acrylic pouring or my resin, but today we are doing finger knitting. So in that previous one I showed you, the cream, pink and grey, I used 6 balls of wool or 6 skeins of yarn. Today I am going to do 7. So I need to go and get another 2 balls of grey. I'm going to do a stripe of grey on the bottom, then I'm going to do the middle. I'm going to do in this gorgeous mix of greys and black and white, and then the top band I'll finish off with some more grey. So that's what I'm going to do. So these are the straight pieces. Oh god, what do you call it? It's your chenille. It's 100% polyester chenille, and they are about, let's have a look, about 20 millimeters in width, not quite an inch, 20 to 22, depending on how sort of flat you push it, but about that. All right. So the last one I made it quite loose today because I'm using 7 balls. I'm going to make it a little bit tighter, not much though. You belong to that ball. So what I thought I would do is I'll go 26 loops, but because I'm going to knit it kind of a little bit tighter, not very tight, a little bit tighter, yeah, and a little bit longer. The other one was sort of more square. It actually ended up, I can tell you, it actually ended up 115 centimeters wide by 130 centimeters long. That was that cream, pink and grey one. So the first thing we need to do is tie a little knot just at the end of your yarn there and snip the tail off. Now that'll just stop it unraveling in your blanket or in the wash if you decide to wash it. Right, so the next thing we need to do is a slip knot. So leave a little tail because that's going to be threaded into your blanket later. So basically you just want to do that. Actually, I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it backwards. I like to have the tail in my left hand, and then just do a loop like that, and then we're just going to poke that through and then pull these 2. So it's very easy. You make a little loop. Want to see it again? Have your tail in your left hand, cross that over, make a little loop, and then this one on your right hand you're just going to poke it through and pull. So that's basically your first stitch. It's a little bit too big though, so we'll just make it a little bit smaller, pull it tight, do it whatever size you want. Now I'm going to do probably, the last one I did 3 fingers and it was quite loose like that. So when you're doing your casting on, it does need to be a little bit bigger. Your stitches need to be a little bit bigger when you're casting on and casting off. So we'll say 3 fingers, okay, depends on the size of your fingers I guess. From the inside of the knot there, about 7 centimeters, 3 inches is what we've got. About 3 inches, 7 centimeters. All right, so that's the first little loop. If you find this tail's too long, you can just cut it back a bit further and make another knot. So what we need to do is we need to have the yarn unravel some and put it in the direction that you're going to be working. So we're going to be going that way from left to right. So what I like to do is just put the loop that we've made over the yarn like that, hold on to it, and then we're going to pull the center through. If you don't hold on to it, it's just going to do this. So over your yarn, hold on to it at the bottom and pull your loop through. And you want to pull it through to about the same size as that previous one that you did, about 7 centimeters, 3 inches. All right, so that's that one. Now you hold this one down and you pull through again like that. Hold this one down, pull through again, hold that one down, pull through again. And you're basically trying to get them roughly the same size. Not always going to be exact to the millimeter, but just yeah, try your best. All right, so 1 2 3 4 5. Sometimes they stick a little bit. 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18, get some more slack. 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 and 26. There we go. So that last one I'll just put up there because that's going to be the first stitch of the next row. Alrighty, zoom you in a little bit there. So after you've flipped it and then you pull that one little loop up, that's going to be your first stitch. I'm going to pop this working yarn behind it and we're just going to poke it through, and that's going to be our first stitch. Don't make the first one too big. I think just a little one will do. Now each loop or stitch has got a top, a middle and a bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the middle of each. Okay, so you can pinch it like that, find where the center is, and then with the working yarn there we're just going to poke it through and then pull that up like that, and there's our 2 stitches. Now these ones, the first row, they do tend to sit upright a little bit, but don't worry about it. As you keep working it will lay down again. So then here's the next one, top, middle, bottom. We're going to go into that middle one, find that little hole there and pull your loop through. Now with these loops I'm not doing them as big as I did on my previous blanket. As I said, I'm going to knit it a little bit tighter. So there, top, middle, bottom, find the middle there and just poke that through. Doesn't take too long. Count as you go. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. Now because you're going into the middle of each stitch, you're pulling it tighter. That's why you need that foundation chain or your casting on row to be a little bit looser than the rest of it, because you are taking this and pulling it, and it's pulling those bottom ones together, so it's making them smaller. If you don't, your blanket's going to be tight at the bottom and then it's going to go out like that. So make your bottom foundation chain or casting on chain a little bit wider. So that's the reason behind that. Top, middle, bottom, going into the middle. 13, 14, 15, 16, pull some more wool out. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and then this last one here is the 25. Did I say 25 or did I say 26? Gosh, now I'm thinking I've only got 25. I wrote down 26, but I think I've only done 25. That's okay. One stitch isn't going to make any difference. So there we go. Now, as you can see, doing that has made this gorgeous, gorgeous chain along the bottom. Look at that. So if yours looks like that, you've done it right. Okay. All right, now zoom you back out again. So that's what we've got there. And basically then all we need to do is put the working yarn on the other side. And we're going to keep going. I'm going to give that a little bit of a stretch because that's basically what it's going to end up looking like. And I'm going to just measure that. See what we've got. Okay, so that's 110 centimeters or 43 inches. So it's going to be a nice size, So yeah, I don't need the 26 stitches after all. So now what we do is this. Oops, that's my tail there. Now what we're going to do is, actually I'll zoom you back in again. Whoa, not that far. sorry. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do our second row. We had the casting on the first row, now we've got the second row, and I'm going to go that way again. So what we're going to do is we're going to miss this first loop, okay? Because what we want to do, what we want to achieve, see this gorgeous chain you've made? We want to get that gorgeous chain going up the side, up the other side, and then when we cast off it'll be across the top, so it will look gorgeous and uniform. So that's the reason we're doing this. So leave that there. We're going to go into the next one. So find your little loop there, and then your working yarn, you're just going to poke it through and pull it out, so like that. Now when I was doing my previous blanket, I pulled it and then I pulled it again, so it was quite big. So I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to pull it through like that, trying to get them all to be roughly the same size. Probably not as tight as some of my other blankets that I've done. I think the last one, I think I pulled like 3 times. This one's just a tour. See, pulling twice. I mean, you might be able to just pull once and do a big one like that. For me, I got little hands. I tend to just go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's just how I do it, but everyone's got their own ways of doing it. Make sure that you've got enough working yarn there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I'll finish this row, and then I will put you on a bit of a time lapse, and I'll just finish this ball of wool or skein of yarn, whichever way you want to call it. They're both correct. In Australia, they're balls of wool. Even though it's not wool, it's polyester. It's a ball of wool. But yeah, it's also a skein of yarn. All right, so that's that one done. Now I'll loosen this again. Now just to double check, make sure that you have got the right number again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And then if you turn it over, just have a look at the back. Make sure that everything's looking pretty. You haven't dropped a stitch. If you've dropped a stitch, you'll see like a big loop. You can sometimes pick it up from here, but if it's too far down, you kind of have to, sorry, you kind of have to unpick. If you do drop a stitch and you don't notice it, it's best to unpick, because your channels or your braids like that, they go up like that. So if you've missed one, if you've dropped a stitch, it'll go up and then it'll go in, instead of going all in line like that. You'll miss one, it'll go like that. So it's important that you don't drop one. All right, I'll put you on a time lapse. Enjoy, and I'll see you when it's time to join the 2 skeins of wool. Right, so that's the whole first ball of wool or skein of yarn used. So it goes quickly in time-wise, but you don't get a lot out of it because it's so thick. So that's the first one. Now, I've had a bit of a change of my mind, and that's okay. It's okay. Because I've only got 25 stitches now, and this is about 115, so 41 inches. Not 115, where am I going? 105. 105. It's 105. 41 inches is what it's going to be. Sometimes when you do your foundation chain and you pull it really tight, you know, it might look longer, but then once you've started doing a few rows, it kind of comes back into the size it's going to be, and I think that's what it's going to be. So at 105 centimeters, 41 inches, which is a little bit smaller than the last one I did, which was 115 or 45 inches. 2 reasons for that. Well, I've only got 25 loops in this one, and I said I was going to do 26. And also I'm knitting it tighter. I'm only pulling that twice instead of 3 times, instead of thrice, twice instead of thrice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 of grey. I'm going to do 4 of these, and then I'm going to do 1 of grey. So we'll have a bit of a grey border. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, because I don't want it too huge. These are great for gifts, Christmas presents. I'm just trying to find the end. There it is. They're great for gifts. And because you can make something handmade, and if you're only going to use 6 skeins of yarn or 6 balls of wool, it's going to be a lot cheaper for you to buy the wool. And I will put the link down below on where I got these. I found on AliExpress I can get them for about just under $8, $7.69, something like that, which is amazing. And free shipping. So, you know, say $8, 6 8s are 48. $48, you can probably get away with sort of $45 for a homemade chunky chenille blanket. But if you go up to the bigger ones where you're using 10 balls, you know, it costs a lot more. So anyway, long story short, we'll make a smaller one because, yeah, they go really fast. Cheaper to make if you're doing it for gifts. And Christmas is coming, so nice to have a gift for someone, handmade. All right, so what we're going to do is this will just stay down there. And I am going to, I'll leave a little bit of a tail there. I'm going to tie this new one just onto the old one here. Just one knot will suffice. I'm going to do it as close to the bottom of that stitch as I can. so. It's too many grey things. I don't know what I'm pulling through. All right, so there we go. So then we've got the tail of the new one. We've got the tail of the old one. And we can just trim those off a little bit. Like so. Keep the little tails. Tie a knot in the bottom of each. Again, just to stop it from fraying. You might find if you're doing this that one colour may feel a little bit different to your other colours. So that's the grey there. We'll just snip that off. Give it a bit of a haircut. And the white one, snip that off as well. All right, so that's it. Keep your little bits in case you ever need to like fix something on the back. If you've dropped a stitch or something, you can actually use this to pick up your stitches and tie them off again. So hang on to those. I've had to do that before. All right, so now we go. Here we go. We've got our two little tails there, and we are going to continue with the new colour. So working yarn in the direction that you want it to go, and we're going to start. Now normally you would miss your first stitch. I've said you that before, miss your first stitch, but because we are changing colours now, we need the new colour to be in this stitch. So we're going to go through there like that. It's similar. This ball here has got like, it's got a few different sort of greys in it. It's got like a grey, it's got like a bluey grey, some white, some black. So I thought this would be a nice shade of grey to use. 3 shades of grey. Haven't got 50, but 3. So anyway, we're going to continue. So go through your little loop. When I'm pulling with my right hand, because I'm right-handed, I don't feel as if I have to do the 1-2. But when I'm going back the other way and I'm using my left hand, I do. I don't know why. It's just because I'm right-handed. I don't know. I don't know. It's a bit weird. Anyway, so there you can see those new colours coming through. Got some grey, got some black, some grey, some white. I don't know whether it's going to go in blocks like that. So the next row, white, grey, black. If it is, I think what I'll do is cut the wool and then just restart it, because I don't want it to be in blocks of colour. I'd rather like a bit of white over the black and a bit of black over the grey, rather than have blocks. So anyway, we'll see what happens when I do the next row. I'll keep you with me here while I do the next row, and we'll just see what it wants to do. When I started looking for this chunky Chenille wool or yarn, I checked our craft stores in Australia, because we don't have Michael's and Joann's like they do in the States, and they didn't have any. So I went to look online, and they were so expensive, like $26 a ball. Anyway, all right, so missing that first one. Now that we've got the new colour, missing the first one, and we'll go back to pulling through. And see, I'm doing it again. I'm pulling it twice, 1, 2. I don't know. It's just, I obviously don't pull it as hard with my left hand. I don't know. Just how I do it. Okay, so now we've got grey on white, got black on grey. I'll make sure I'm doing them big enough. Black on black. Now we're going grey on grey again. See, that's what I didn't want to do that. And then we've got white on white. Finish this row and then I'll see. I don't mind if there's a little bit that's, you know, on top of the same colour, but I don't want the whole thing to be like that. And then I'll just have like stripes of colour going up. That's not what I want. I want it to be really variegated. So might have to cut a little section out of the wool and join it up, and hopefully that will kick-start it into having a different colour on top of the colours, if that makes sense. Get those tails out of the way, don't knit them in. So what are we going to do now? We'll go back the other way. No, see, this is going to work on this side because I've got grey on top of the black. All right, that might work. That might work. Skip that first one again. Oh, it's a bit tight there. Skip the first one. We're going to go to the second one. Let's have a look. Okay, so now we've got grey on black. We've got white on black. All right, that's looking better. Looking better. I've got a little bit of grey on grey here, but what can you do? Anyway, it's going to be what it is. There'll be some areas that have got block colours and then others that will be more variegated. So we'll just roll with it, hey? Roll with it, literally, roll. Okay, I'll finish off this line. And then I'll finish off the whole ball. And then when it comes time to join the two balls, I'll come back to you and show you how to join your yarn, okay? So you won't be missing anything. I'm just going to continue. I'm going to use this whole thing up and then I'll come back and show you how we join the new one to the old one. All right. Right, so I have finished that. Now it's getting a little bit wide, so all we do is we can just roll it up, bring it back towards us. That way you're not reaching over and hurting your back. So do that. All right, so here we go. Look, we've got two little white ends left. So what we're going to do is we're going to join that one there. We're going to join this one here. That's a magic knot. There are other ways that you can do this. You can tie the two together like that, poke it through, just pull that tight. It does leave quite a big knot, and then both your tails, I guess, are at the one end, or you can do a knot like this, just your standard knot like that. Let's start that again. Standard knot like that. And then tie it again so that you're just doing a double knot. You could do that as well. Pull that one tight. I've seen some people actually set fire to the ends and stick them together. I don't know. I haven't tried that. I'm not quite sure how secure that is, but if you've done that and it works for you, let me know. So we're tying that there, that there. So here we go. We'll just tie a knot. So basically you're just tying a knot. Forget that's there. Did my head in when I started this because I thought, what am I tying it to? So just tie a knot there like so, and then this one we're just going to tie a knot there. So forget that one's there at all. We are just tying a knot in this white end like that, and then all you do is pull those two together. Now the other thing you need to do is just make sure that it's really secure. Pull both ends, and again, and then I like to do it a couple of times. Make sure that I've got it nice and tight and that nothing is going to come apart. And then you can just snip off your little tails. You can do it quite close to your knot like that. This does tend to like fray a little bit. Don't worry about that. It's just what it does, but you can just trim it up, give it a bit of a haircut, make it look pretty. There we go. And that's it there. See, it's not too big. Like you can easily hide that in the back, in the side, somewhere in your blanket. So yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. Alrighty. So now we can do. Well, I haven't finished this row yet. If you've dropped a stitch, if you come up to it and you go, oh my gosh, what's going on here? What have I done? That's okay. Just pop that back in there like that, and then you're ready to knit that one again. So I'll just finish this row because I didn't have enough wool to finish. I had to join the two. There we go. And as usual, miss that first one. I'll zoom you back in again. I'll do this one little row here for you. And then I can finish off the ball on my own. You don't need to watch me do the whole thing again, do you? It can be a little bit repetitive. So here we go. Now make sure that this is not twisted. This one here is twisted. See that? Make sure that you've straightened it out and it's not twisted. Otherwise you will notice. Like that. See, it's kind of facing that way. So make sure it's straight and not twisted. I'm going to make these a little bit bigger. All right. Away we go. See this one? Yeah, that one's all right. I thought I dropped it. It's all right. If you've come to one and you think, oh, gee, that feels a bit smaller than the others, with your next stitch, just make it a little bit bigger so that you're still in line. So if you've got one that's a little bit smaller, make the next one bigger. If you've come up to one and you think, oh, that's a bit big, see, this one's almost about to fall out. And yeah, if you come across one that's a bit too big, then your next one you can just make a little bit smaller, just so that they're all in the same row, the same size. I did stretch this out a little bit, that's why it's all curled over. I like to sort of stretch it as I'm going, but it does tend to curl these towards you, but that's okay, it'll straighten out, don't worry about it. All right, so I'll finish this row. I won't put you on a time lapse, you've seen how to do it. Last little one. Put the working yarn again the way that you're going, and I'll finish off this ball, and I'll come back to you again and we'll do another magic knot, okay? We'll join it again. Right, that is done. Didn't take long at all. Right, let's add this next one. There's the end. All right, so same thing again. Tie there, 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 and there. All right. It doesn't matter if you're doing it that way or if you're doing it this way. It's easier just to, you know, grab the tail and tie your little knot. Again, forget that's there. All we're doing is tying a knot, like so. And then this one, tying a knot. Forget that's even there. We're just tying a knot, like so. All right, and then pull the two together. Tighten, 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 and then again. Okay, don't pull too hard. I pulled too hard a couple of times and snapped it, so be careful of that. All right, now to cut the little tails off. You can cut them quite close. They're not going to, the knot's going to not come apart. It's not going to come apart, that knot. All right, pick up the little bits. Get some slack from the ball. And off we go again. Make sure that these are still nice and big-ish. Make sure that your loops are not twisted. So there's the knot. It's going to go into this one. That's it up there on the top. We will just hide that in the next row. It won't be a problem. Won't see it. So there's still time. If you want to make a blanket as a gift for someone for Christmas, there's still plenty of time. You can get one of these done in literally a couple of hours. Definitely just, you know, in an afternoon. If you want to take your time, if it's your first time doing finger knitting, you know, it might take you a little bit longer because you're learning. But once you've got the hang of it, it goes really quickly. And then you get to the end and you go, oh, it's finished. Now what am I going to do? Quick, jump online, order some more wool. It's like that. So still missing that first one and continuing back again. Make sure that you've got your slack, make sure that you're working yarns in the direction that you're going, and off you go. Oops, I think that one was twisted, it was. With the bigger loops, it's easier for them to twist. If you're knitting quite tightly and you've got small loops, then they don't twist so easily, but sometimes these ones can twist a little bit. All right, so there's the knot, and we're going to just do that. See, it's just going to be hidden in the back there. You won't even notice it. Just get to the end of this row, and then I will continue doing it on my own. I just put the music on, listen to some music. It's very relaxing, very therapeutic, and like I said, plenty of time for you to still make a gorgeous chunky knit blanket for a gift for Christmas. I will add the link to where I bought them. They were the cheapest I could find, but yeah, if you're in the States, you've got Joann's and Michael's and coupons and all kinds of things, so you could probably get it cheaper or same price, if not cheaper, than what I can get it from AliExpress. All right, look at that. All right, roll that up. I'm going to continue finishing off this ball, and then I'll see you in a bit. Right, I have finished my 4 balls of this variegated wool, and now I'm going to finish off with the grey. So I'm going to just tie it on here. Let's do a little knot. Actually, I better leave a bit more. Have a little tail left so that I can tuck it in later on. So I'm just going to tie a knot there. And I want to have it as close to that stitch as possible, like so. Make sure it's nice and tight. So there's our 2 tails, and we'll move that wool over in front of us and keep going. Move those tails out of the way. Now normally we would miss this first one, but because I'm changing colour, I want the whole row to be grey. I'm going to knit into that stitch there. Here we go, pulling the grey through. All the way along. Make sure that you've unravelled enough so it's not pulling tight. What you can do when you get your ball of wool or skein of yarn is actually unravel the whole thing. Make a new ball but hang on to the bottom so that it's actually poking through the top, and then you can use it from the top. That way it doesn't roll around and jump off the table. So yeah, you can do that too. You know what I mean? So yeah, when you start rolling it, just hang on to that first little tail, keep it out rather than having it stuck into the middle. Just keep the end out as you're rolling it up, and then yeah, you can just use from the middle all the time then instead of from the outside. And I like to kind of fluff it up as I go as well. You may have seen me in the do this, like to fluff it up, because sometimes it can get a bit squished and flat when it's on the roll. So yeah, I do that. So miss the first one and the second one. So I will just finish this and then I'll come back to you when it's time to cast off. You do need to leave about 3 lengths of your yarn for casting off, and I'll show you that shortly. just get to the end of this row, and then I'll catch up with you when I'm finished the ball. Won't take very long. Not at all. The grey does feel a bit thicker than the variegated. I think it's all made by in the same place, by the same company, but for some reason some are maybe 20 millimeters wide, and then others are like 18 millimeters wide. You can buy super chunky in different brands, and I think it's like 25 millimeters or a whole inch thick. I haven't been able to find that yet at an affordable price, so, but I'm happy with this. All right, I'm going to finish this and catch up with you when it's time to cast off. Right, so I have done a little bit. That's all that I could do. Now you do need to leave quite a lot of yarn for your casting off. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then there's like a half, but I think if I do another row, I'm only going to end up with probably 2 instead of 3.5, and 2 is just not enough. So let's get onto it. Now, can you see, or do I need to zoom you in? I'll zoom you in a little bit. There we go. Move you over. There you go, so that you can see what I'm doing. All right, so actually other side. What you need to do is, see where your yarn is on that side. You're going to, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Hang on. You'd think I'd know by now what I was doing. We have to make the last row first. So what we need to do is, we need to make all these loops the next size up, so about 2 times that. So the next row of loops is going to be twice the size of the loops that we've got. All right, so this one here, we shall pull that up. So that's our last one, because we're not knitting that one, remember, we're leaving that one, but we still need to pull it up so that it's longer. And then we're going to make them about that size, so twice the size. Pop that through, and you really do need to have it quite long. If you don't have this last row long like that, your blanket will go nice and straight, and then it'll have to be pulled tight across the top if these are too tight. So make sure that they're nice and big, similar to what we did at the beginning when we cast on. We had them quite big. So the size of the loop from the top is about 3 inches, so 7.5 centimeters is what we're doing there. So you can see the difference. Look at that. See how that little, it's only little, it's half the size. So this is why you need quite a lot of yarn. So at least 3 lengths of your blanket, because you are making them so big. And you'll see why in a minute. There are a couple of different ways to cast off, and I'm sure if you searched on YouTube you would find the different ways, but this is the way I like to do it, because I like getting that same chain or braid effect that we've got on the bottom and the side. See how quickly it goes? I've hardly got any left. Have I got enough to do the end? I hope so. Gosh. Let's see. Oh gosh, might not have enough. Actually, you know what? I've got this little bit of leftover from my previous ball. So let's just join this, okay? And hopefully it'll be enough. I only need a tiny bit. Otherwise I'll have to unpick what I've done and make my loops a little bit smaller. Just a tiny bit smaller, just to accommodate like an extra 1 or 2 stitches. That's all I'm going to be short, 1 or 2 stitches. So yeah, it's a good idea to hang on to those extra little bits of yarn. even though you think you're not going to use it. Hang on to it. Snip the tails. We're getting lots of practice with these magic knots today. And then just trim off the little extra fluffy bits so it looks nice. Put all that off to the side. Okay, so hopefully, let's fluff that up a bit. Hopefully I've got enough to do. I've only got 4 stitches left, so hopefully we've got enough to do 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yay! I did it. Just. Let's do this one a little bit bigger. Enough. All right. And there's our little tail. That's all I've got left. So what we do now that we've got these big loops, the end where the tail is, actually I'll just tie a knot in that right now, as we always do at the ends, just so that it's not going to fray in the middle of your blanket or the edge. There we go. And then also when you wash it, it's not going to fray. So what we do now is we leave the little tail where it is and we go back to this end. Okay, we go back up here. Roll that up. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these 2 loops and we're going to put one inside the other and pull it across. Put the left one inside the right one and pull it across. See, it's making that gorgeous braid. Left into right, pull it across. If you're knitting and your tail is at this end when you finished, you would then start at the opposite end. So you start at the opposite end to where your tail is, okay? So basically you're pulling the loop through into the direction that you're going. Pull across. Put in, pull across. And look at that gorgeous chain that it's making. And it's so easy, isn't it? So easy to do. Look at that. Look at me go. So easy. And we're getting that gorgeous, gorgeous chain. So if you made your loops quite small, these would be really, really tight and they'd be pulling like that. And you don't want that. You want to be able to spread it out. You don't want to have it feeling as if it's too tight. So not difficult to do at all. Again, if it's your first blanket and you're a bit unsure about how big to make these loops, you may end up thinking, oh gosh, I've made them too small. Just unpick them. It's okay, it'll only take you 5 minutes. Unpick it, make your loops a little bit bigger. On the other hand, if you've made your loops too big and they're like really, really puffy and loopy, again, pull them out. Only take you 5 minutes. Make them a little bit smaller. Rather do that and have the perfect blanket, okay? Rather than you thinking, oh, it'll do, but then, you know, you're just not happy with the way it's looking. Right, last 2, same thing, put that through there, pull it out, and now all we do is we're just going to tie a little knot. Like so. If you wanted to, you could do a double knot. Just pull it tight, like so. Make it look, make it look as attractive as a tied end can look. I probably could have had my last loop a little bit smaller, but anyway. And then with your end of your tail there, you can just weave it back through so that it's hidden. Just weave it anywhere you like. There's I think that's another knot. That's the knot that I made earlier. But yeah, just find a little loop and poke it through like that. All right, so that's done. That's the other side. Oh my gosh. All right, so we've still got a couple of little tails that we need to hide. But there it is, look at that. So here's our little tails where we joined the 2 colours. And I'll just pull them a little bit tighter. You can have them as tight as you want. Actually, maybe not quite that tight. And then again, just figure out which way is going where. That one wants to go up, that one wants to come down. But I don't want it to do that. So here, we'll turn it over. And basically, we're just going to weave. Now, I will do my little knots at the end again. Whoops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Is that going to tie, or do I need to do another one? No, no, it's coming apart. See, it does fray, so do your little knot. Hopefully I've left myself enough. Now, I haven't left myself very much at all. Wants to keep unraveling. Gosh! Come on, little bit of wool. You can do it. It's wanting to unravel. Let me just trim it up. It's not going to be much of a tail here at all. Oh, I won't worry about it for now. I'm just going to tuck it. There's not much of a tail there on that one. Now this one is a bit long, so we'll just trim that off. So make your tail a little bit further in like that. I was pulling right on the edge and I actually unraveled it, so that was my fault, as opposed to the wool's fault. So there's our little tail, and we're just going to, where will I ravel you? I think I'll just ravel you down here somewhere. I like to just pick somewhere along the back and just kind of weave it in like that. That one's done. And then where was our other one? Little bits of fluff everywhere. Where's our other one? Down here. Down here. This is it here. On the bottom. So I will just... Now you can either weave it along the top or you can go along the side, whichever you like. I'm just going to pick up, there's the braid, there's the top. I like this is the top and this is the back, so I'm just going to braid this through along this outer edge, like so. If you don't want to have so much, you could trim it. Actually, I probably will trim that because it's going to change colour. I'm changing colour there and I don't want it in there, so we'll just trim it a bit. Like so. And then finish. Where was I up to? Tuck it in. Alright, so that's that one done. And then the other side, we've got the same thing happening on the other side here. I've already tied a knot in that one. I'll make it just a little bit shorter. And then this one, just tie your knot where you want it so that they're about that long. They don't need to be too long. Snip that off. And then just weave that in. I think I'll go through the back here. You don't want to be weaving on a colour that's not matching. So this is the grey, so we'll weave this into the grey. You really don't notice it when you're done, unless you look at the back. we won't look at the back, you know. It's handmade. All right, look at that. Wow, it feels divine. It feels so lush. There we go. And there's the grey again. It is just gorgeous. I am in love with it. Now let's have a look at the back. You can see there where it's changing colours from the grey to that variegated. If you do prefer this side, then poke all your knots through to the other side. Totally up to you, whichever way you want to do it. You can have it either way. It's just if you do have a knot like that, a join, you can just poke it through if this is the side that you want to use instead of that side. So, yep, you can do it either way. All right, let's go and set it up so I can take a little photo for you, because you can't see the whole thing here on my bench, and then I need to clean up my bench and get ready for resin. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Hope you're enjoying my little blanket videos. Let me know if you want to see any more. I know people that have been following me for acrylic pouring and resin must think I'm totally out of my mind, but yeah, I just thought I'd show you what I'm doing, making some gifts for Christmas. You've still got plenty of time, okay? You can start making them. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, everyone. See you for the next video. Bye for now.